is a gathering. This 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 is a gathering of the masses. This is a gathering. 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 This is a gathering of the masses. This is a gathering. 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 This is a gathering of the masses. This is a gathering.
All right, we early tonight, family. We are early tonight. Oh man, I hope y'all don't miss this one because some of y'all know I come on 9 o'clock, but this is an early episode tonight. Before I introduce the brother, real quick, make sure you check out the Patreon. The Gathering of the Masses is available on Patreon, as well as RFG, the Chosen One video that got taken down the other day. So all those exclusive videos, you can go over to Patreon. It's popping right now. But listen, with that being said, this brother here, I got somebody new making their debut on the channel, and I see some of y'all familiar with the God. That's dope. That's what's up. And I seen the brother video probably about 3 weeks ago, and I was immediately impressed. He immediately gave me that energy of the golden era of consciousness with the teachers like Bobby and Delbert and all of them. So I was like, I got to get this brother on the channel. Reached out to the brother. I was able to get in contact with him. I want y'all to get hip to this brother here because y'all going to be seeing his face a lot. With that being said, I want to introduce to the platform, and I hope I'm saying your name right. Ani Osaru. You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're on mute. Yes, that's correct, brother.
All right, Ani. Yo, welcome to the platform, my brother.
Man, it's been a while, man. I've been watching the platform for a while. I am totally humbled and honored to be on your platform, Brother Rich, and shout out to everyone else who's here tonight. And yeah, it's just a great opportunity to share information, get the people together, and put out some new gnosis so people can see new angles of light of what we need to be paying attention to right now.
And I love how you said that new angles of light brings upon new revelations, new perspectives being born, new realizations being born. And I love your approach to this thing. Very, very scholarly, very scholarly. And melanin is an important conversation that is and I've been saying this like the past month on the channel. I'm like, there's so many spiritual podcasts out right now. And if they doing big numbers, I'm talking about big numbers, the spiritual part with Bashar and all these dudes out, Joe Dispenza talking about all the chemicals in the brain. They know all the fancy stuff in the world, but there's one word you never hear any of them say. It's almost like it's forbidden. And I'm like, what is there conspiracy to say this word melanin? Like for it, I was taught that it was such an important aspect of humanity, but then I'm on YouTube. The spiritual community done blew up, but I'm not hearing anybody talk about it. So I'm like, damn, is it because they feel as though that doesn't pertain to them? I don't know what it is, but all I know is I love the presentation I seen you do on the Black Sun, and you was talking about other stuff, and I said I got to get this brother on here to talk about something related to that. So I know you're gonna bring a new angle of light. Would that be? And to start off the show, let me say this: what I'm hearing from, and I hear this from a lot of different podcasts and communities, is that we know melanin as the carbon molecule, and what they're saying is that carbon-based being is going to turn to silicone-based beings. So if that is true, which I'm hearing everywhere, if that is true, what does that mean to melanated folks? If our carbon is turning to silicone, how does that apply to melanated folks, my brother?
Well, I feel like that goes into the lecture because that's a crystallizing.
Okay.
That's what it's called in physics, a crystallizing of the carbon. And that just plays into what the Christ is, the Christos.
Excellent.
The crystallizing is there's a Christology to what melanin is, and there's a dimensionality that I bring to the fold for people to understand, like the physics and hyperdimensionality and things of that aspect. It's what really exists, because when you look at teachers like Bobby and what he was trying to explain, and the brother that came before him,
C. Freeman,
biological origins.
Richard King
was dropping that fire.
Oh
And
yeah.
one thing I noticed he was saying, it was like, yo, melanin is beyond the biological aspect.
Mm,
Melanin is like an organizer in the spiritual plane.
mm.
So that's when I said, okay, I got to get on my research and my scholarship. And I dug into some stuff and I was like, you know what? This thing organizes the spiritual realm before we even come here. It
Whew.
draws our nerves and our tacits that connects the nerves in the body that give us the full fold before we even
Mm.
reach fetus form. It already has it. It's like a pin, a pin that draws everything.
Right.
And it's a creator agent, to it all in its aspect. So yeah, I think people should understand. I think there is a censorship because I've seen some podcasts denounce melanin
Oh
almost like it's a mythological type thing now
wow.
recently. So and they know who I am, and they, we've done podcasts, but
Yeah.
I feel like no, I'm gonna stand on our master teachers. I'm gonna stand on the science.
Hmm.
They have melanin conferences every year. People that don't look like us, and I'm talking about 5 conferences a year, talking about how this thing. Man, I showed on my last video. They got this white physicist. He said they're making the new electronic AI chips based off melanin research.
Yeah, I
I got
heard.
the clips on it, like the whole system of AI and how they get their chips. The whole reason why they sent the hurricane over. If you believe that or what, towards Asheville and all of those minerals in the mountains that they're trying to collect to build those new quantum computer chips. Because we're moving 2030, we're going to be like an AI driven type world. You're already seeing in Google, when you type in Google now, AI tells you where the research is. You go
Right,
click on
right.
links now. So they're looking for these chips, brother. So
Hmm.
yeah, we can get into it.
Oh yeah. Let's get this thing started, my brother. Let's get this thing started. I'm excited. Let me put you on the screen here. All right. Okay.
We good?
Yeah, make sure you hit that like button, family. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We are live and it's going down big over here on Black Magic 363. An amazing presentation is about to be had. Pay close attention, family. Hit that like button. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So I'm here to speak about dimensionality as it pertains to melanin and what exactly the Christos is, in our hyperdimensional aspect of physics. We teach reality engineering on my side of the fence of
Mm,
how to create a magical universe through, implying our mantras, the dream physics, external, internal stimuli. The dreams mean something, family. It's
mm,
not random imaging. You just have to know how to connect the dots in relationship to the archetypes to figure out what's being relayed. And melanin is an organizer of those archetypes once you begin to tap into the vibrational tonalities of the mantras and the meditation sequences. So creating a magical universe, egregores, I don't know if you heard this term, is a magical term when it's a collective group thought pattern. It becomes something called an egregore, a entity of itself. And there's a divine resonance between melanated people and how we create that. You know how you be on the bus and you see somebody acting crazy and you see another melanated person and y'all make that eye contact, like there's some weird stuff. Or if something go down, you got the brother over there, y'all made that eye contact just in case something go down, y'all in sync on what to do.
oh yeah.
That's an egregore we've created with that, a group conscious collective. And then through propagation of that, we learn how to create a portal in what's called sempiternality. There's a lot of big terms people are going to say, oh, he has these big terms and stuff, but we're going to break that word down in a minute. And Bobby, he was the one that introduced that we should approach it from a scholarly manner. We shouldn't keep it mundane. The melanin needs to learn, family, for it to grow. It has to understand bigger terms and break those terms down for us to grow as soul and spiritual beings. But we also need to live magically. Don't get caught up in the social constructs, because every day is a deity, and the instances in life are all deities, and it's collective. So it comes from the lowest of the astral planes. The chthonic realm is what they call it. And then it builds from our quantum bodies that's on the other side of the multiverse. And what I mean by that, Brother Rich, you ever had a dream where you were somewhere and you never been to that place before, but the dream seemed so real to you, like you almost felt like you forgot it, but it was a completely different place than what you've been, but you just, go through the dream. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah.
You dreamed something?
Oh yeah,
Let
definitely.
me tell you what that is. They've been coming out with a lot of multiverse stuff over the last couple of years. You got Loki in the Marvel universe, and I decode all of these shows. This is what I do. I picked up the mantle from Bobby, going into these shows, break it down, showing the melanin research and how it pertains to this whole spiritual aspect. So Loki, they just took the brother down, Jonathan Majors. They stripped him from playing what was the character he was playing? Kang the Conqueror. I think it was Kang the Conqueror.
Right.
Kang.
Yeah.
They took him away playing Kang. And he could control the multiverse. Then you have Multiverse Madness. Then you had all of these other shows. What was the show with the Asian lady? Everything at once, everything everywhere at once. All of these multiverse. What it really is that the multiverse exists. And melanin is like a synthesizer agent between these multiverses when we're speaking dimensionality or from a spiritual sense. And I'm gonna go into that in a minute, but that means that there's a quantum body, a relationship or a linkage to who you are on the other side of the multiverse. What do I mean by that? That means every decision that you make in life automatically in quantum physics creates a opposite reality where you made a totally different decision than you did here in universe A. So universe B, if you chose to go left down a road, in universe A, in universe B, it creates a realm where you went right down the road. So who is that person is still a split of the quasi-intelligence of what you are off in this other plane of existence. In our dreams, the age of Aquarius, the melting pot of the planetary frequencies are bringing universe B into universe A, and we're starting to see what our other versions of ourselves are living over there, and they're dreaming about what we're living over here. Does that make sense, brother?
Yeah. Wow.
So that's what's actually happening. This is why when we get into the alien extraterrestrial conversation, the alien is already in your body. They already told you about that. Go get the movie. Get the movie Jonah. Movie came out in 2024, talking about the little boy that went through all of the trauma, and it was some type of entity, extraterrestrial entity that existed with him, but he was the only one that could call down that ship. He called down this ship, and he was the only one that could do it in the show. It was a small little melanated boy. But there's another movie I want you to get called was a TV series called 3 Body Problem on Netflix. 3 Body Problem. I want y'all to get this. I broke this down on Brother Sanchez Network a couple of months ago. But this is a heavy one, guys.
Talking about this one.
Heavy. Oh, KT talked about it. If KT was talking, I gotta go see his video on it. I didn't even see his video. I just got excited. I gotta go look. I'm gonna look that up for real after this. But yeah, this thing, because it's a real physics equation. The 3 body problem was never solved in physics, but it's a real thing happening with us, because in the movie they selected a melanated man to become the wall facer. And the wall facer is a person that makes all of the decisions for humanity, because the problem was these extraterrestrials figured out that humans existed on Earth. So there's something called a dark forest theory. If they figure out that there's a new civilization that exists that they didn't know about, their plan is to destroy that civilization before it has enough intelligence to develop a technology that can enslave them. So basically, let's go ahead and stump them out before they evolve enough to defeat us.
Right.
So the melanated man had to make decisions on how, because they were shutting down they were sending these little quantum sulfons down into our planet to stop us from working on CERN, Large Hadron Collider. We couldn't even figure out how particles worked with each other even more, because they were shutting down our intelligence system, our body of work, to figure out how we could defeat them once we figured out they were after us. And the melanated man in the movie was selected to move the social construct forward. He was called a wall facer. So that's just a little bit of examples. I'm gonna go through a lot of TV shows and books just to speak on what I'm talking about today. So the soul is here to evolve our sense of reality. The soul is here to evolve our sense of reality. If we were to approach archetypes from a metaphysical perspective and view them as being in relationship between our experience, our psychology as well, then we might be able to tap into greater potential of development. When you have an ability to identify archetypal structures, form, and diversity, it not only makes room for a new experience of a new archetypal energy to be recognized by you, but it also allows for the exploration into direct experience of the archetype itself while you're living it. So the nature of reality cannot be understood, because all we can experience or be in relationship with is our own projection. Reality becomes a concept open to interpretation by our own minds and the collective consciousness. And this is always a changing aspect of reality, bro. So I remember C. Freeman L. used to speak on this concept, and I remodeled it to mean something a little bit more. Generator, operator, destroyer. You remember this, Rich?
Oh yeah.
So I reorganized this. I put bliss. This is where we come from. That's the G in God. Status, why we are here, is the operator. And trauma, why we fell to where we're at now, is destroyer. And it's a synthesis between spirituality and spiritism. But through our trauma and bliss, we can recognize our status. Through trauma and bliss, there is an alchemy between both, which is to achieve a status in our states of negativity and positivity. One status enacts the supremacy or the subordination of one's spiritual condition. You individually, family, are constantly changing the status point of your location along the path to godhood. And our intuition is regulated down to a comatose state in this current social construct that becomes binded by the ego. The ego, which is the sun in your astrological chart, is suppressing the inner voice of the soul's propositions. So it's not ever enough to receive information now and then. This intuitive voice is here to guide us in a direction that we need to go in ourselves. We need to fully have a orderly engagement with this voice, and this voice it recognizes itself in the darkness in our meditation. We have full dialogue and conversations with the different shadows. The different traumas becomes the different shadows, and this is where the melanin science comes in, is in the shadow of ourselves, not only the shadow of our complexion. When we speak about skin color, when it pertains to melanin, that's melanocytes. That's completely other different biological physics than what we're speaking about, the inner alchemical aspect to the melanin. Melanin is limitless kinetic potential. It's a quasi intelligence. There's many type of aspects of how melanin works, and we're going to go through a couple of them today. So the story of reality is the voyage of the souls. We have a voyage of our souls, and the story of the voyage belongs to us, the melanated people, who are the original ether utopians. We were the first ones, God. They were speaking about what Dagon traversing the cosmic waters. We presided in the cosmic waters, and this is the Syrian Black Sun information. way before physical form, the cosmic waters were here, or the ethers were here. And the melanin within us is like what I said, it's not just a biological component of our anatomy. The cosmic waters in quantum physics is called quark gluon plasma. Plasma is the gods. Plasma is the gods. Get a book by Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. Let me bring it up on the screen for you. Dr. Joseph P. Farrell has a book. It's called something in the Ecker, but its subtitle is Angels, Demons, and Plasmas. You guys got to get this book. You got to read this book. Yeah, demon in the Ecker. It's a Sumerian term, the Ecker. And it's speaking about our angelic form before we got here. So in the book, he's going to show you why the original beings possessed the original souls and existed in something that I explained earlier, eternality. It means to be outside of time, simultaneously inside of it. That's us. That's us right there. To the angels prior to the fall of paradise. That means outside of that third dimensional construct. We're outside of the time. Our souls is outside of that time construct. Our original avatar bodies, they were the ones that traversed the cosmic waters in light ships. And they had warp drives far beyond what they're trying to reverse engineer right now in ufology, for all the UFO talk. I'm a part of a UFO group and do lectures for them. SALT LLC. The military gives them contracts to speak about how to develop technologies, developing free energy, how to literally create a free energy device out of your air conditioner. These people are doing this, Rich.
Wow.
Speaking about, they got all types of nuts and bolts on UFO technology, hidden documents, black projects on UFOs and stuff. But when I bring the soul aspect, and they said, you're right, honey. Trying to reverse it. They tell me, they said the soul or the spiritual body is the UFO that they're trying to reverse engineer. So we're far ahead having that information. So I want you also to get the movie, get the TV series Evil. This is a must get right now. When Bobby spoke of evil, he talked about prime evil versus evil with a concept. In this TV series, they got a melanated man who has these group of different people. Like, she's a psychologist. He works in quantum physics. He's the nemesis in there, but they work for the Catholic Church. And what they do is investigate paranormal activities. And their job is to prove whether or not that the church should investigate or log it in their Vatican journals or whatnot of what's occurring in the world. But this melanated man, Brother Rich, he's the only one out of the church that can speak directly to God. God gives him symbols. And he does these things, these meditations to connect with God. And they got this other Asian woman that speaks to God. And they got this one white nun who literally can see demons. That's her special ability. All of us have special abilities. We have superpowers pertaining. If you look up your Vedic astrological or sidereal chart, you can see what deity is in those specific charts pertaining to the nakshatras, the fixed stars around the constellations. And you can actually see what super ability the deity has, and it pertains in your life if you can connect to your soul through hydroacoustics or sound amplification. That's mantras. The sound, the soul begins to understand itself through sound. So if people are playing 432 frequency, 528 frequency, all of these things, that's good, but you got to be able to emit the frequencies as well through your throat chakra.
Right.
to begin to get the Kundalini to swell up.
Right.
And get in that black dot it's called cold fusion. They don't know what it is. They still don't know what it is. I don't talk to the top physicists. I don't did videos with Dan Winters. They don't know what it is. They can try to put some, physics terms, but really when you read the books, they don't know what it is. They're still studying it. But basically, we're cold fusion modulators as melanated beings. Go get the movie Fallout. No, the TV series. Fallout, the TV series. Got another melanated man up in there. They keep showing you. And he's in this suit of armor that also represents the melanin. He's in this suit of armor. That's his suit right there. And there's some symbols on it I can show that pertains to the Moorish nation. There's a lot of Moorish science in Fallout. And they got these people living in bunkers because if World War III happened, if there was a nuclear war, we know the elite, they're going to go underground. So the outfits they wear in the bunkers, they wear these outfits. But at the end of the movie, they show you what cold fusion looks like. It's this small little particle, just like the Bindu seed in the Vedic scriptures. They're talking about the relationship of melanin to the soul, to the black dot, everything Richard King, Bobby, Dr. Phil Valentine, Black Dot himself, all of the master teachers been telling us about. It's inside of you. And there's this chrism oil that rises through the planetary frequencies that you have to tap into. You got to know how to tap into it. And we're teaching that right now. So understanding the occult aspect, the physics, the esoteric anatomy of the world of mythology is all in these movies. These movies are synthesis of our story. They have to have a melanated being in it. They have to somehow tie it back to the melanated people, because you have to understand that we are the original ether utopians. So we are the subconscious of the entire world. Collectively, we are the subconscious. That's why they could never kill us all off. Someone asks, well, why don't they just make a melanin bomb? Kill everybody that has melanin on it. If they hate us so much, they can't do it.
Yeah,
there's a book about that.
Bobby used to say that they couldn't take us all out even if they wanted to. The world will come to an end if they did.
It would. It's in a book called ETs and Extraterrestrials by Shapiro. Some guy named Shapiro. He says in the book, if you're white, think he says a dark-skinned person if they're close to you, because without them you wouldn't even be here.
Wow.
Yeah, he says a white man, I think he's a Jewish person. So yeah, melanin is called tekon in Egypt. The word tekon translates to heavy star material. That's in the book Serious Mystery. The word tekon, it says the star material came from a heavy star named Umagari. Umagari is Sirius, the black sun. So this heavy star material came from Sirius to here, and we possess it. Melanin is an electromagnetic modulator. You ever notice that all the superheroes, when they're black, they always control electricity or something?
Yeah, that's a good point.
See?
I didn't even think about that.
Black Lightning, even I was watching the new Spider-Man with my son and them the other day. The new Spider-Man is heavy. What is his name? I think he had Puerto Rican too. Miles Morales, the black Spider-Man. He has the power over electricity. And I was like, how the hell Spider-Man control electricity? And I said, oh, they got a black person. So I get it. I said, what the hell does that have to do with it? So yeah, we're electromagnetic modulators. We modulate the radiance from the star frequencies. We have dream avatar bodies. That's a part of our amalgam. That's the shrine. We have a shrine. The Temple of Solomon is inside of our chakras and our loka formalities, the astral and soul forms we have. So the power of melanated people is that we are consciously a self-evolving and a self-solving equation, and we change the constants in the equations according to the arrangement of the informational fields that's coming in. Now, Bobby always told us when it comes to the Christ is always called the enigma in the occult text. Do you know that there is a pharaonic line in the hieroglyphs, in the hieratic syntax of the hieroglyphs about the ray lines of the soul? They were these high priests, and from this is Bobby's perception of it. So this ain't mine, but I thought it was interesting. He said that these high priests comes from this ray line of the soul, and they were practicing a rare form of spiritual cloning in time travel. Now he explains that Horus isn't just a god, it's a species of a soul. He said Horus is a special species. They crossed the Amduat into the land of Osiris before they had even died. So that means that there were a group of melanated people that became God or achieved, they attained the golden fleece, they attained immortality before death. So they didn't have to reincarnate to get it. So it took a generation of rituals to crack the quantum code of what they were evolving into. And what they did was pour into this advanced gene that we have, and they curated our gene over generations through the Kemetic dynasties. And this was a gene that doesn't lose memory through death. They called it the Draco bloodline originally, but now the Europeans and David Icke and these other guys saying the Draco bloodline are evil because they had an advanced star weapon that blew up Tiamat in the beginning and caused all this chaos in the Babylonian and Sumerian stories. But in actuality, we're the Draco bloodline. We're the Nagas. We're the dragons. So to be melanated.
Didn't they also say the Dracos attacked the Larians, and we're supposed to be descendants of the Larians? So what was the beef between the Dracos and the Larians?
Well, this is it. The Larians, the Pleiadians, the all of these star races. First of all, who created the star races names? It's just somebody that's randomly tied a star race and made a name. You got to figure out who the hell started that shit first. Right. And I'm gonna tell you right now, they name begin with the U's, put the J in front of it. Yeah. So I'll leave that where it is, but let's just play with it with a little bit. The original star racings are all melanated anyway. They're all originally melanated. So that just means one group, if you're talking about Dracos with the war with Lyrians, that means whether it's in physical incarnation or whether it was in the cosmic waters, it was just some niggas beefing with other niggas.
Right.
They were just beefing.
As above, so below.
Yeah. Just like we're beefing. We got beef with each other. You know, there's no problem.
Right.
You know, it's necessary to have friction down here a little bit. And now we're moving back into harmony now. So to be melanated, you have to understand the physics of ascension, being, of understanding how to get back into what's called samadhi, the dissolved state. That's the final state of alchemy out of the rubedo and the albedo is samadhi in the Vedic text, is when you absolve all of your karma through the sattvas and moksha. So to do this, you have to take the harmonics of your brain and your heart on a photon implosive cascade. You have to measure the implosion in your DNA from the photon sonic implosion, and you will see that your DNA has a braid that constantly implodes and embeds into a stronger ray of photon coherence during human bliss, and it's measurable. So what it does is embedding a bigger expansion in out of your body, obviously, guys. I'm not talking about stuff inside of your body. I'm saying out of your body. Pull up some graphics, show you what I'm talking about. So we're talking about expansion. Every time we reach that bliss state, there is a expansion. You see how this thing expands outward when it rotates? It's an expansion. And that's what you're constantly doing when you do it's like when you raise your kundalini and you reach samadhi. Samadhi is a state, how I experienced it, is pure white. It's a pure white realm. It's completely white from all formalities. And when you get to this white, it's like a fog that comes in your mind when you're humming or you're iterating whatever frequency tonality, whether it's 432, 428, 528, whatever you do. And you're picturing the centripetal force of the code fusion raising up the Jed pillar, which is your spine. And it's entering constantly in between those two polarities of electric and magnetic energies. That's the two floors on the whole Masonic black and white thing. It's talking about the two sides of the code fusion. And once it gets into the seed, into the pineal gland, the seat of the soul, which is representative of Sirius as a physical organ, is your pineal gland. Then it transfuses, and it's kind of like when you play the video game, Rich, and you beat the first boss on the first level, you got to get to the second level and play the second boss. The next time you try to charge implode that seed in Kundalini meditation is going to be harder than the last time. It's going to take you much more work to do it. And this is how you become immortal on the other side. This is what they've been teaching. So there's a God code in our melanin, different from regular human melanin biopolymers. A group of us have a God code melanin. And it's a melanin that maintains memory through death. Although the consciousness is in oblivion at birth, when you're born, you forget everything. You're just, a baby. That memory is unfolding not inside of your consciousness, but it's unfolding in the ray lines of your auric field connected to your yakada, which is a Hebrew word pertaining to your light ship. Everywhere you go, you have a light ship that follows you in another dimension. It's called the yakada. Only the original people, the original souls have this. They have this yakada. You already got the starship. That's what I was saying. You don't got to be looking for research into all of that because you already got it.
So are you saying there's a star in the sky that only that individual could see?
It's a ship, or ships in general. Let me speak on ufology real quick. Ships in general can only be seen by a certain people with a certain genetics. You ever notice that there's only a few people that seen UFOs? Some people be like, y'all got crazy. What the hell are y'all talking about? UFOs.
Yeah.
They couldn't see it if they tried. You can be standing right in front of them. Y'all can be in the same longitude, latitude. Y'all can be on the same ley line. I live on the 33rd ley line, and I've seen many UFOs, or whatever you want to call it, UAPs. They can't see it because they don't have the genetics to see it. You have to have a certain genetics, and that means that you have to be a certain species of Horus to have the light to see hyperdimensionally. They don't have it. So just because you're black and you have black skin doesn't mean you have these genetics. And when you're talking to them certain type folks, you'd be like, oh yeah, he on that God resonance. I can go deep, and with him, we can have a real conversation instead of all the, this bull crap we talk about day to day and stuff like that. So there was a priesthood that was battling back in the day. And one of the priesthoods basically won, and they time traveled through our genes to send their consciousness to a future race of us that would be themselves cloned in another timeline as avatars as us. And that's us coming back into existence. Now, you want to put that in simplistic terms, oh, they just reincarnated. No, it's much more advanced than reincarnations. Much more advanced than that. Another TV show I want you to get Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. You seen this one yet, guy?
No.
Just came out. I always, anytime Lord of the Rings come out.
What a book or a movie?
It's a movie. It's a TV series. It's out on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But they go Netflix. I want you to go ahead and get it.
Mm-hmm.
We're the Lord of the Rings. I just showed you the rings just now. Those are the rings.
Mm.
Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why you think they put $1 billion in this Lord of the Rings TV series? Look it up. They put $1 billion into this one.
Damn.
This ain't the one that we grew up on. This is a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the movie or the TV series, the dwarves, which are the Twa, they found a rare element underneath Middle Earth, which would be America. The group of dwarves, their home is called Moriah. You get it?
Mm-hmm.
It's called Moriah. And this element they found is called mithril. That's melanin. Mithril was used to make the rings. Mithril is melanin. It says in the show, mithril was worth 10 times the own value of gold. All right. Ani don't know what he's talking about.
Sounds like melanin to me.
Hold on. Ani be babbling. Hold on. 2022. 1 gram of melanin is worth $450, which makes it more valuable than gold. Today, the 14 karat gold rate in the USA is $35 per gram. Do you see this?
Where's this from? Where did you get this from?
We can just type it in. Let's just type it in. I just typed in melanin worth more than gold. Hold on. There's a bunch of articles on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Pricer.org. AALBC. Let me see. They sell that in Barnes and Noble. Let me go to the next page because I found a bunch of articles on it the other day. Evren.com, OpenLibrary.com, TheMedium.com, OwnYourFuture.org, Piedmont EDU. All of these are sources you can look into to confirm this. You know what that means? Every melanated person walking around is worth their body. I'm just talking the melanocytes, our skin, our organs, mainly the organs between the genitals and the upper thigh of the leg. If they can get that, why you think there's so many body harvesting going on? Is worth we're worth $55 million a body. Your body, your skin is worth $55 million. What you think they got us as the poorest people?
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the mithril in the show, they're talking about melanin. It says worth 10 times gold. There's a lot of stuff I can get into with that, but y'all just go check it out. And if you want more on melanin being worth more than gold, get this scholarly text called The Melanotropic Peptides by Mac E. Hadley. The melanotropic peptides is going to cover that. Another TV series I want you to get to understand how this thing is going. It's a good Kabbalah series called From. They got the brother from Best Man. Remember the brother that was dancing with the stripper, Candy, and Best Man?
Yeah.
Now, in the TV series, these people get transported into a alternative dimension within this dimension where they're in a town where they can't leave. Every time they try to drive down the road, God, they end up back in the same area. But they figure out at night, these monsters come out and they're impervious to gunshots. You can't kill them with gunshots. So they don't even know how to defeat these things, but these monsters eat people or tear them apart or whatnot. And they sleep under the ground. They also discover that the trees transports people to other sides of the dimension. So you can go into a tree and end up 20 miles on the other side if you walk out the other half. It's portal physics. Everything of what we are is portal physics. You are a walking portal. We're walking portals. That's how entities get in. That's how entities get out. The Gnostics believe that every day was the Gnostics believe that every day in life was an exorcism of the physical to get to the soul. So just like you have these people perform normal exorcisms for the demon, they believe that this dimension within itself was the demonic aspect. Now, you don't have to look at it that way. You can look at this realm as a cocoon for your evolution as well. You can look at it optimistically. It doesn't matter how you look at it. The only thing you need to deal with is getting the fuck out of here. So in that series, he also is the guy who finds this stone that protects. If you put the stone in your house, it protects you from the monsters entering the door. And it has to be the melanated man that discovers all of this, and he's the main character of the whole show. So it's dealing with portal physics and things of that aspect, and it's called From. So get that TV series as well. Now, from the Christ aspect, the first word that we see in the ancient text for the word Christ is Kres. So we get the word Kres, and this pertains to the dying God and the resurrection God, which later on becomes, they make a form of Jesus or Yeshua as that in a physical incarnations. But the Greeks had something way before that resembled this word Kres. And the first word we get is called Chrysomelnos. You ever heard of this term?
No.
Chrysomelnos is one of the first terms of Christ. Now look at this. Chrysomelnos. Now understand, let me help you understand this. Any ancient civilization that was referring to the Christ, they had to choose a animal that was an enigma. The alligator is an enigma. You know, the alligator was referred. So Subic was a Christ figure one time in the world. The alligator. Then later it becomes the lamb. Later it becomes, well, today is the lamb, but later it becomes these different animals that are very enigmatic. And black people are the enigmatic race of humans. We're the enigma. You just don't know what it is about us.
Right.
And you know, Jesus rode to Jerusalem in the Bible on a donkey. The donkey is the first animal of Set. You know, the Egyptian god Set. So one of the first gods ever was, you see, was a donkey-headed deity. And the thing about donkeys, you can't get them to do anything. That's where the word ass comes from. You can't get them to do nothing. They just do what they want to do. So every animal that is a symbol of the Christos does or possess something unique out of the comprehension of what normally happens psycho-spiritually. Chrysomelnos was a winged ram in the Greek mythology that later becomes the golden fleece for Jason and the Argonauts. So when you get before you get the golden fleece, we figured out that it's this part ram, part flying type thing. It's a flying ram basically, but it's gold, and it's rescued by a character named Phrixus, bringing him to Colchis. Now, if you understand geology, the area of Colchis is where the Black Greeks were. Colchis. So Phrixus has to sacrifice this ram to Zeus. There, the fleece in Colchis was given to King Hades, who kept it on a sacred grove, guarded by a dragon and a serpent. Always goes back to it. Jason and the Argonauts, and Jason just means we're in Jason right now. You remember this guy, July, August, September, October, November.
Right.
It's the time frame that Sirius gets to the highest point in the sky, and it's the time frame when your melanin or your consciousness is at its highest radiance. It's at a high radiance before the sun goes back into the underworld. It has to go back under. The fleece is the symbol of kingship and authority over reality. Phrixus' mother was a cloud nymph called Nephili. Now, let me explain this cloud part. So they're talking about this cloud, right? They said that his mother was a cloud, and he rode on a golden winged ram. This is the occult side of the melanin. Get the book Polaria, Gift of the White Stone by W.H. Mueller. Now he's talking about this cloud or fog that comes from Dagon, the fish people, later becomes Dogon, the people who traverse the cosmic waters. But on page 42, and if you understand gematria, anytime you see this number 42, brother, in Jewish numerology, notice spider number 42 bit Miles Morales. We were just talking about him earlier, so I just brought that up. You notice this spider number 42. Anytime you see this number 42, it's talking about black people. We know we got 42 laws of Mayat. So they're talking about the Mayatian children. But 42, it means literally black person. It's the N word, actually. So, yeah, literally. So in the text, it says on page 42, for the cloud is the creator. Since it is the Psi, he excels or exhales, and since it is hidden from him, so it's not, you can't see this advanced technology. It's hidden, is inside of you. He says, as such, the cloud is the invisible, the esoteric. It's an esoteric thing. And it is manifested, it is the manifested creature. It is a creator creature. This means that the divine being is the hidden and the revealed, and also that he is the first and the last. Who's the first people? We will be the last two. Then it has, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Tarjumana says the divine cloud in the process of creation. You can find this in this book right here. In the picture which we have of creation, first there was the Amma, the great mist or cloud. That's the name of the Dogon mother, name is Amma. Then the light of his essence flowed over it, and the mist became dyed, that is, permeated with light. This is pure source of energy. Then the forms of the angels who wander in love appeared in the mist. These angels are in constant movement, unceasing motion. That's melanin. That they're talking about chaos. That's unceasing motion. The state of unceasing creative motion is what is sometimes referred to as the praying angels. The angels pray, speak the pure language of the one. That's the monad, the highest of gods. In that they constitute the formative, energetic force of creation. That's what we constitute. They are the executive force of the becoming, while the angels of black light, he puts black in there, or the midnight angels, he puts midnight in there, are the force of reunification guiding onward toward untoward the annihilation of opposites and the restoration of the spiritual order. Yet becoming is necessary for the one to realize its being. So we have to realize of our being. That's part of the Christ energy. So all the energetic forces of creation, formative and deformative, evolutionary and involutionary, are but aspects of the eternal one's desire of fathoming itself. That is crazy. The symbolism of the fog and cloud is crucial to polar spirituality to indicate the state of actual transformation. So go to sciencedirect.com. Remember, I said the mother of the guy was a cloud nymph?
Right.
That's the cloud right there. ScienceDirect.com says melanin is called a electron cloud. Oh, the electron cloud organizes electrons. Melanin pertains to the electron cloud that allows melanin and is in the molecule to absorb light energy by readily accepting and donating electrons, acting as a natural electron shuttle, which enables it to protect itself against harmful UV radiation. We know that. And potentially it can store energy, then release it. Charge implosion. That's what samadhi is. That's the cloud right there. So the people who have the cloud, you already know, they grow the cloud in their head. It's a representative, it's an esoteric symbol of what's inside of you. You have the electron cloud built inside of your spiritual bodies. And they're talking about this fog or mist that comes from Dagon. Dagon ain't nothing but the star Sirius, guys. They're talking esoteric language here. It says the purpose of discovering your divine nature is to get off the treadmill of lies. The original people liberated the seven souls, seven chakras, seven souls. They're biochemiluminescent centers of activation in your body's prime organs. There are tools to help you realize various inflections of cosmic hierarchy. The stars above are here to be algorithmic nodes of calculated light quadratures to give us the dissertation of the soul's plight, the manipulation of cults back to the solar phallic worshippers of Kemet, and the battle of priesthoods with the Typhonian Nubian sectors of apotheosis. They went underground and became Gnostic religions. One thing we have to understand, there's an hourglass concept of what's happening right now, that the reason why people can't get to the next level of this understanding. If we look at an hourglass, when it comes to our divine nature, as it was saying, to get off those treadmill of lies, you have to understand that everything that was a super force in the cosmos that was in relationship to this word we call God has now all come down into us. There's nothing left up here anymore. First of all, God is a Germanic 6th century term. Did you know that, brother?
Yeah, I've heard people say that before.
Every time you say God, you're saying white-haired deity, blonde-haired deity. That's all it means. We looked it up. I pull it up, Wiki dictionary. What's that dictionary, everybody? I pull it up in the dictionary, and I showed everyone it means a blonde-haired deity. So even the concept, the spells of the words that we use, we're not even uttering the vibrations that we could utter.
Right.
Just bringing that to your attention. So the super force of energy in the cosmos does not give a F whether you live or die. So it doesn't care. The higher self is the agent of that super force in the algorithm of cosmic intelligence and of the Akashic records, which is your melanin. And that is the only God that is going to save you and is you. That's the only God. So guess what? Earlier in the year, they discovered mysterious cold spot in space could be proof of a parallel universe. In 1987, a supernova released cosmic rays that changed DNA and triggered consciousness. Now, there's a relationship. They're talking about this super void in between the constellations of the Eridanus. Now, this happened right during the Hamas and Israel war, Rich. They had a concert called Supernova Parallel. And this is what sparked my research, that it was all about melanin and us. Israel had this concert called Supernova Parallel, and all of these people got killed and sacrificed. Now, the same transliteration of what happened in this event, because you know it's playing out a mythoposis, a mythology in the world. Some things have to happen down here for it to I mean, some things are happening in the cosmos and happens down here in another way. And these people understand it and they instigate situations to get the energy from it. So this concert happened at the start of the Hamas and the Israel war. It happened on the 7-day Jewish holiday of Sukkot. Now, I looked up the word Sukkot and it means harvesting. The word Sukkot means the holiday of harvesting. So they had to harvest souls. There was a lot of people who got murdered out there, including this woman. She was like the most everyone talked about. Then I noticed that there was another article speaking about a super void or a cold spot that opened up in space. Says the Eridanus supervoid is made up of clusters, superclusters. They are pulled together by the attractive force of gravity and accelerated away from each other by the repulsive force of a mysterious, not yet understood phenomenon called dark energy. Dark energy ain't nothing but melanin. It's a form of melanin. Carbon, melanin is all the same thing. The physics of darkness is understanding the melanin inside of you. It got nothing to do with no melanocytes. Yes, you can supercharge your body through the sun. You can go out and say, oh, it's light and love. You can put your hands up and what they do, they ground. You can do all of that. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I do that too. I go outside, I'll do that. But there's some advanced stuff that these people are trying to figure out about this dark energy. And I'll be damned if they figure that shit out before me. What's going on with that dark energy? Now, in the physics of darkness, what we're understanding, I haven't even gotten into the lecture yet, brother. My bad. I was just looking forward to the lecture. I was like, dang, I didn't even get in the lecture. It's still a little bit down here, but we still going to get cooking. So the physics of darkness deals with the esoteric, syndromic measurements of revolutions in the nexus of meshing nodes. If we had a physics equation of understanding what's happening with the supervoid, because I'm going to tell you what the supervoid is.
Everybody in the chat, make sure you hit that like button. We close to 2,000 people. This is this brother's debut. Make sure you support this brother. Go to his YouTube channel. All right, go ahead, brother.
Thank you, brother. So there's this node of there's these meshing nodes. It equates to the speed of light, which represents c in the equation, It serves us as a stumbling block from which a border crossing to the origins remains in still in the darkness and becomes feasible to access. There is a winding light, which is a astral light, that is only partially constant in our sense, only within signs using today's metaphysical tools, and that's only to our measurable physical universe. But it is but already a variable when we close the eyes. We begin to dream and picture before they begin to emerge from our mental eye. When waking consciousness is in those stigmatized states, under or unconsciously in the areas of psychology, it is here our cosmic existence drops. At the moment when consciousness becomes controlled or uncontrolled in these areas, it arrives at the horizon, which represents Horus, where the arrow of time in the present is then reversed for what can be made of the future and not of the past into consciousness. This is why the Hebrew language was important, because the Hebrew language signals this reality beyond us grammatically, because it is what the future is being expressed as it was behind us. Thus, the inner spiritual universe would not be able to be in the future, but into the past, analog to reality. The coming redemption would be redeemed. And is this paradoxon, which is possible in a world that itself is the mirror image of a distortion language in the expression of what is above in the abyss. What I just read to you is basically it's giving a equation in the physics that whatever this void is that opened up that they can't explain is a collective of what we are inside. The river of Eridanus ain't nothing but the river of Jordan, which is the flowing of the chrism water, the cold fusion energies that rises up as the oil during astrological times called the Kairos. The Kairos is a term from the Hayat al-Hakim, which is a Moorish grimoire book on black magic. They were looking at the stars and they were trying to figure out how to disable a black magic spell somebody puts on somebody, but they developed a whole grimoire on understanding black magic over there in the Arabic times or whatever they had back then. Basically, what it's saying is that this Kairos and what they discovered is the perfect time astrologically for cold fusion to reach its height. So planetarily, the stars is playing like a instrument back and forth, moving the energy, and you're supposed to mimic how the energy is moving by doing certain exercises on these days that's important to the Kairos. Does that make sense, brother?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So then this melanin it becomes like a polymer, and these there's a delocalization of electrons in the melanin molecule that creates this cloud rather than localized electrons. And this electron cloud gives melanin the ability to conduct the electricity under certain conditions, especially when a person is hydrated. Remember, Bobby said, drink a lot of water?
Right.
I think he said, drink a gallon of water a day.
A day, yeah.
And you start to get drunk on the water. So it's saying there's something magical between the relationship of the waters to the melanin, this electromagnetism, the cold fusion, the astrological time, and there's these areas in the constellations where scientists are figuring out some type of abyss is opening up, and they don't know what it is. I just read the scientific article on it. They said it's mysterious, and they called it a cold spot. But guess what they're trying to say? They said that biblically, they could call this area here the whore of Babylon now. So they're trying to put the whore of Babylon in the sky. Now that's interesting because in every melanated civilization, we had a matrilineal, a reference to a cosmic mother. the cosmic mother in the Gnostic text, which I won't get into, I'll just give you a small explanation. There's a book you can get called, what's the name of this book? The Sun Lady Unveiled. The Sun Lady Unveiled. I can't even say the author because her name is banned on YouTube. But look up The Sun Lady Unveiled. And it says, okay, acquiring the rainbow light body of all realms from dark matter becomes fractality together. In Gnosticism, God is depicted as an androgynous being containing all potentials and archetypes. The spirit is also depicted as both male and female, and the father, of course, male, but they are united in the bridal chamber. Therefore, Adam was intersex before Eve was removed as a separate entity. That means the black woman and man was one. And sex, when we have sex, the reason why we experience bliss is a reminder from God or the monad that our souls used to be one. So when we have sex, that's our souls coming back together. That's why it feels so good. The result of our division brought us death. This is what the Gospel of Philip teaches us. The fall of man and the separation between Adam and Eve is reflected in Yahweh and the Queen of Heaven, called the divine divorce, as well as with Israel. 1872, George Smith translated the 12 tablets of creation and discovered the earlier version of the flood myth. Among details, that religious orthodoxy took care to suppress what was the point that the God who caused the flood was disobedient to the great mother who didn't want her earthly children drowned. The mother is in text as, I probably misspelled some, but it says Mother Ishtar severely punished the disobedient God by cursing him with her great lightnings. She set her magic rainbow in the heavens to block his access to offerings on earthly altars. Since rashly he caused the flood storm and handed over my people to destruction. Old Testament writers copied other details of the ancient flood myth, but could not allow their God to be punished by the great whore of Babylon, as if he were a naughty child sent to bed without a supper by an angry mother. Thus they transformed Ishtar's rainbow barrier into the sign of the covenant, voluntarily set by the heavens of God himself. So we are her children. And I'm going to end it with this. We are her children. Let me give you some final explanations what this melanin is in your body. We can get up out of here. I meant to show you this picture. You know how they always talk about Medusa. They just talk about plasma. That's all Medusa's head is, plasma. See, that's a plasma ball. And when we have our locks, we resemble that greatly. When we put our hair in locks, we have that Medusa. The melanin inside of us, family, is a quantum mechanical instrument that creates a negentropic, self-organizing divine intelligence that is transmitted in a meaningful way through all levels of complexity of this universe. It is also a fundamental dimension of the cosmos as a consciousness. It's a consciousness in itself, a energy in living matter. It produces the Agni, the flame of the mind in Vedic texts. Through focusing attention mentally upon something, it causes a phase conjugate longitudinal pump wave. This is the holy grail of the fusion solution, that if we have protons and gravity existing only because there are fractal embedding in the arc of electron, melanin is present at every moment of what's happening. Melanin becomes the god of death because death was quantumly measured through metaphysics, through symbols and languages of the darker races. They had names for it: Osiris, Asar, Sek. In America, it was called Mictlantecuhtli. Charge implosion is a compression success at depth that causes a black hole in the plasmic fields. The body of the melanated people is a resurrection machine for star inhabitation. That means that the sun god is capable of the alchemical art form called the magnus opus, which represents a departure from incremental processing of masses. Melanin is the chemical at that process that the soul produces in a constant state of charge implosion. And every early black starhead ether utopian learned how to transmute their soul through stripping it down to its native core, unlocking most marvelous powers containing the individualities of mystical manners. So I could go deeper. I can get into black goo. I got that black goo stuff is nothing. When you hear the black goo, is nothing but a synthetic version of what's called chemia in alchemy. It's what the metals produce. They produce this substance, this black goo. But the black goo today that they be putting in all the videos with the celebrities, of course, that's something completely different, Rich. That's a synthetic version of what's inside of y'all. So you got the black goo. Is in the movie, I just put it up, Phantoms by Dean Koontz. Get the 1996 movie Phantoms by Dean Koontz. They're going to talk about this black goo, and it's going to possess Pinky from Friday. What's the actor that played Pinky in Friday? Whatever his name is, but it possesses him in the movie. The black goo comes in him, and he says out his mouth, "Study my flesh, write the gospel, but do not try to leave." Telling the white people that. But I'm going to conclude with that, God. I'm going to conclude with everything with that. And I appreciate you, man.
Indeed, indeed. I know you got to go soon.
Yeah,
So
I got time.
Okay, yeah, I definitely got to get you back on here again soon, my brother. But a couple of questions I want to ask based on what you said tonight before you get out of here. So basically, are you saying that because you referred to the Black Sun a couple of times? Like I told you, I'm working on a documentary set to come out next year. So I'm doing research from everywhere, getting many angles of light on it. But you're saying the Black Sun is serious. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, the Black Sun series is split into 3 different versions.
Okay.
There's a series out there
Uh-huh.
that is seen with you can't see it with the physical eyes, seen with the naked eye.
Mm-hmm.
Sirius B is Earth. Earth used to be a star a long time ago. And we used to inhabit the star.
Dr. B Sirius told me that. It's funny.
Really?
His name is Dr. B Sirius. He told,
okay, I know the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the brother. I watch his videos, but I wrote that in a book in 2017. My book is called The Blueprint of Darkness on Amazon. I put that in a book.
It's on Amazon now?
Yeah, it's been out. It's been out 2017.
Man, I'm gonna get that shit tonight. Pardon the link. Blueprint to Darkness?
Yeah, The Blueprint of Darkness.
Yeah, Blueprint to Darkness. Get that book tonight, fam. What name you got? Pen name? Annie Osaru?
No, it's gonna go by my government Timon. Tyman.
Tym what? A-N.
Tyman.
That shit just timing?
Yeah, Timon.
Okay. So the Sirius we see in the sky, that's Sirius C.
No, the Sirius you see in the sky is Sirius A.
Sirius A.
The one here is Sirius B. Sirius C is the next dimension of your soul. Your soul connects to Sirius C. Bob used to call it Iminya in the African language, but it's this Jerusalem to the Jews. It's the world to come. Right. Olam Haba. Right. The world to come is Sirius C. And your soul is that black sun. It will be the next world when it comes up, because right now it is in a sleep state. It has to constantly be reminded of itself through mantras and acts that we do right now. It's the sleeping Buddha. It's asleep. And once it awakes, This dimension is gonna it's gonna be like an implosion. You know, you see the movie Left Behind when everybody disappears. This physical realm is gonna be wiped clear, and we're gonna go into another dimensionality where we experience a reality, but it's not going to be human this time. You can call it alien, you can call it whatever you want to be, whatever you want to say it is, energetic bodies, light, love, all that, but it's not going to be this realm. That's Sirius C on the other side, and it's connecting through your soul. Your soul is the black sun.
Okay. Now, you said earlier you was talking about ancient species not reincarnating to the future, but you was talking about a much more complicated process of them basically becoming who we are today. So
Right.
I want you to elaborate on this process that's not technically reincarnation, but I guess it's like a time traveling process.
Yes. So basically, there was a war between two priesthoods. There was one priesthood that used to worship polar symbolism. Then there's another priesthood of polar symbolism. That was the original area in the sky. You know, Polaris, the star.
Yeah.
There's this Polaris has these 7 other stars that surrounds it. That's called the mother. That's called the dragon in constellations. That area is called the dragon. At one point, guess what? The Sirius star was there. But the stars move, constellations move, just like we move. And now it's a Polaris is the pole star. I mean, the Sirius star used to be the pole star. Now Polaris is the pole star. It's the pole star now. So it has another connotation to how astronomy is working within itself. But what I'm saying is that these priesthoods went to war, and during this shifting, this polar shifting that happened over centuries, thousands of years, our genetics, the original priesthood implanted a seed in our genetics, and our ancestors time traveled in our genetics to a future time frame where we would awaken and get the information back and live in harmony with the information that they had back then. I believe that is happening right now. And Bobby said it's happening right now. And he said the people that have this special melanin, he called it lambda melanin. Right. It's a God form melanin. They will be the people that give the information on a high frequency back to the people that can access the information based on their genetics.
Okay. Also, with the whole Sirius thing, somebody asked in the chat, and I've heard several people mention on YouTube a Sirius X. Is there any information you know about a Sirius X? Have you ever come across information about a Sirius X?
No, I haven't come across Sirius X. That's probably a new thing. A lot of people, you got to be careful with mythoposis. And mythoposis is when another person creates a mythology. Like Nibiru was created. The word Nibiru literally means a halo, the golden halo. The people who have the golden halo are the Neb-Harus. That's the golden form of Heru. The Neb-Harus, not Nibiru. So Stitchin made his own mythology for people to follow in the future, and he gets the claim to that. But later other authors take that and they engineer that the right way. The only Nibiru that's coming back is your golden Kejyan body, your enlightened soul body. That's the only realm or planet that's coming back as you.
What's and I asked several people this, is very interesting to me. What's our connection with the Golden Lights now being over this country?
You said the Golden
Lights. I'm sorry, the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights, yeah.
Oh, the Northern Lights. You talking about what happened recently?
Yeah, the Aurora Borealis or whatever. Any significance with that?
Honestly, I felt like that was all engineered, and y'all can come at me, y'all can judge me either way, but I just feel like it was engineered. There was a lot, like you saw the skies turn purple in Florida, and you saw around that same time, right before the skies turned purple, they came out with a purple Burger King a burger at Burger King that's pure purple.
Mm.
Then Ja Morant released a shoe called Purple Sky a day before the skies turned purple with the Northern Lights. So I don't know. I just feel I got a book you can read, brother, called Geoengineered Transhumanism, where they said they got these nanoparticles in the sky. They've been dropping it for years, where they can literally go get that movie Three Body Problem. It's going to explain what I'm about to say, where the nanoparticles can become like a mirror reflection and project a hologram in the sky of whatever we see. That's Project Bluebeam. But they got other projects too, when they can just induce and make us see whatever they want us to see. And I'm not saying that there can't be a Northern Lights. I'm not saying that it naturally or organically occurs. I just think what happened distinctively in this instance maybe was a little bit engineered. All I'm saying.
Yo, since you said the Nibiru was a newly created mythology by Sitchin, what is your thoughts on the whole Anunnaki and Lil Inky story? What is your thoughts on that whole mythology? Because that's like real popular on the internet right now.
Yeah, Enlil is Yahweh, Yaldabaoth, the same demiurge entity. Inky was a form of Poseidon, or the god of the cosmic waters, so to speak. I believe that Tiamat was a dimension, and I think that they said in the story that Enlil got mad at us for popping out of our bodies. We were soul traveling. There's a difference between astral projection and soul projection. And he said the sound of us soul projecting out of our heads is like a popping noise. That
it bothered him or something, they said, right? The brother froze. Family, can you hear me? He'll be back in a second. Can you hear me though? The brother I need froze on my end. Can you hear me? Or am I frozen? Oh, you can hear me. Okay, all right. Yeah, he'll be back. This happens occasionally on shows. He might have to go out and come back in. Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, he'll have to go out and come back in. But great show tonight, man. Wow, interesting show. It's always interesting hearing different, as the brother said, angles of light. And yeah. Brother reminds me a little bit of Panic. His demeanor, his disposition reminds me somewhat of Panic. So shout out to Brother Panic in another realm right now. All right, here go the brother right here. All right, you froze up on us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, they took me out right there.
Right. You back. I was trying to get them Anunnaki gems from you. I want to know if it's a new mythology or if it's for real, according to your research.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that I believe that we were the Anunnaki, the sky, whatever they talk about, sky guys and all that type. It's people who soul project. I think there's a lot of different mythoposes to it. They said it was the people who ruled the world prior to this. And there's a lot of, but I believe that it all pertains to us. Whoever did do that, it pertained to us. And the story went that Enlil got mad that we were soul projecting.
Yeah.
So he said it was making too much noise. So he flooded the world, which is that's basically another way of saying that he buried the soul deeper in matter so we wouldn't easily have access to it. So he buried it deeper within our vibrational output. So we had to work harder to get there, to access it. So that was the flood of Atlantis.
What another question I want to ask you? I've heard Bobby talk about this, but I don't hear a lot of people at all talk about the Typhonian Egyptians.
Yes.
And you're obviously well read. So what role does the Typhonian Egyptians play in all of this?
They follow polar symbolism. and they were very ascetic people into Tantra. They were using a lot of sexual magic. They believed that when you had sex, you were supposed to envision every chakra lighting up on the body. And when you do that, you're supposed to visualize your chakra spinning, female clockwise, male counterclockwise. And when you bring it together, when you penetrate, you're supposed to, well, there's three forms of sex. You have procreational, recreational, and metasex. The original was just to have a child. The second is, just having sex. And the last one is actual soul travel together in the Merkaba. When you put your half of the soul with the female half, you can formulate and get back in the craft. Before we were, in Homo sapien bodies, we had other forms we were in, way prior before we evolved. And this was an androgynous form we had together. The first people that came down is in the Parthenogenesis text about these androgynous looking women. They were women, but they looked a little bit like studs today.
The studs.
They looked like studs. But look, they didn't have no men yet. So they had to use their yoni. When the vibrational output of the planet lessened and they started to lose strength, they had to face their yonis towards the sun to birth a son, a male, to work for them. And how they did it, they had Bartholin ducts and they had sperm inside of their bone marrow. They still do this in India today. So you can't say that's just some false shit I'm saying. They still practice it in India, not having a male to birth a child, but the Typhonians practice this science on a high tantric physics level where they imagine their chakras spinning the opposite clockwise. And this is how they pulled a god down from the dimensions and created someone like Imhotep that created the Great Step Pyramid and became the first open brain surgeon in history.
Right. Wow. What another thing that's popular on the internet is the talk on, we hear about the sacred land and places overseas in Egypt and Israel and Samaria.
Yeah.
How ancient does America get, my brother, according to your research? Everybody talking about I'm American. Everybody saying I ain't even African no more. I come from America. Everybody's just talking that American talk right now. So how ancient it gets over here. You said this is the middle of the earth or something like that.
It is. I think there is something to it. I think America is just as ancient as anywhere else on the world. So yes, it is a very ancient place. But when people start to say they don't have no African in them, I can understand from a ethnicity that if you're 500 years removed from a epistemological space, then you're not going to have the same ethnicity as that. So I understand that aspect.
Right.
But as far as African, you do have a ancient ancestor as an African, so to speak. And you can't just throw those genes away because they're a part of this area is an amalgamation of the melanin. And we have, we got the invader as well. We got some of that, but that's a part of it. That's a part of the whole of the amalgamation, the mixing bowl. But I think as far as geologically, the land and the mounds, the building of the mounds, there's a text called Queen Mu, where they said some of the Olmecs taught some of the Egyptians. They were teaching them some things. So they were the Egyptians came over here and they were students of the Olmecs. And sat at the foot of the Olmecs. Now, I don't know, it may have been vice versa. Some Olmecs may have went over there and learned some stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. But one thing I do know, it's more ancient than what they tell us.
Indeed. Now, you talked earlier about the word God being a more modern term. What would be a more appropriate tone that we could utter that would incorporate that God energy when we refer to ourselves?
If God is a collective of frequencies and vibrations, that it can't be one aspect. The recent, or if you want to give it a name, there is an American name called Manu Ometeotl. That's the name of God. Is the androgynous being. But mantras, the different mantras of the planetary system
Mm.
is accessing the name of God. Mantras or frequencies is accessing the name of God. Even everybody has their way. The Jewish texts talk about the tetragrammaton, the 72 names, Shem, Ham, Parash, all of these different things. So there's different ways of reaching the same vibration. All I'm saying is us saying God, we have to recognize that that literally is a Nordic, German, white, or blonde haired deity. And we have to recognize that for what it is.
You're into gematria a lot. What is the gematria? Because my channel name is 363 Black Magic 363. What's the gematria 363?
Okay, so gematria is basically encoding the Chaldeans number system that later became Egyptian, that later passed through the Greek and the Greco-Romans, that
Mm-hmm.
went through Latin, and it enveloped into a system of symbols we call numbers. Numbers are nothing but symbols. And
Mm-hmm.
the symbols of what we call numbers are nothing but the rate of spin the vibrational output is that we're recognizing.
Mm-hmm.
So the gematria is the organization of those vibrational outputs by those symbols to
Mm-hmm.
show you how the cosmos has an imprint separate outside of the matrix, but also to show you that the matrix has an imprint inside of itself. So its separation shows how the cabal, or the people that be moving things around in this world using their black magic, is using a number system to control apparatus of news. And then it shows how we have our own understanding and the working of the great work inside of the number system of the cosmos. And if you look into your name, I do gematria decodes, you can see your name breaks down from your life number, your life path number, to your cardology number, to your astrology numbers. I can show you deities in your Vedic astrological chart that equals up to the same as your name. It's just crazy. So people who say that they playing with it, a gematria in the magical lodges is called play, actually. It's called play, but it's not play in a sense of kids playing around. It's a magical term. They use the number system to recognize entities. They will say this entity that I made contact with last night equals 565. And it's a way more sophisticated forms of it when you're talking about encoding frequencies and what entities is being relayed based on the astrology at that time. But I can show you a science of understanding how you manifested in this world through the number system, and it pertains to the vibrational output of what you are.
Right, right. But nothing off the top of your head about 363 though.
363, not I don't recognize off the top of my head, but if
Right.
I do my research, you give me a couple of minutes, I could look into it and I can find directly what it is.
Indeed. Earlier you mentioned about you talked about, we have techniques such as grounding and sun gazing, things like that. You said there's some more advanced techniques. I'm curious to know what would be more advanced than connecting with your higher self in the higher realms besides grounding and sun gazes, because these are techniques that everybody is very familiar with.
Well, there's techniques. I mean, it's simply is something called Vastu. It's
Hmm.
like a Vedic form of feng shui. Like, where do you lay your head at night? Have you ever looked at what direction your head lays
Mm.
pertaining to the pole?
Wow.
If you lay your head towards the south, you're attracting all types of negative. I don't think it's the north. You're attracting all types of negative impurities. Where do you place what side of the house is the altar on?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Where do you face your couch? All of these is based on systems of energy. Also, the tonalities. We practice something called the heavenly chords. We put the heavenly chords on top of a 528 frequency, and we put a metronome in it, and I tell them to meditate on it.
Mhm.
and do your mantras over it. And then you will start to hear the meditation and mantras in your dreams. Then you
Mhm.
start to access the archetypes of your magical, the sequencing of your magical universe. You'll
Mhm.
see it start to play out in your world. But by studying it, you can know, oh, this is the archetype of this based on the tarot deck. This is, the magician. This is breaks down to this. This is Jehuti in the Egyptian text. This is Aries and the Greek. You can break it down to the different Tezcatli Polka, and you could break all of the mythologies down and see how that energy is playing out by accessing the vibrational tonalities of what you use towards building your magical. It's called reality engineering.
Indeed. I'm gonna get a couple of questions before I get to the question, a couple of questions from y'all. What what we talked about music earlier. What instrument would you say resonates most with melanin? We got all these instruments.
We can't get past the drum. That drum is crazy. That drum
Mhm.
is crazy. So the drum is a very mystical instrument. But if it was something along with the drum, I think it's the harp.
The harp.
The harp, literally, when you look into the Egyptian text, it has a head on the base at the top of the base, and the
Mhm.
head and the strings represent your chakras. It
Mhm.
represents the koshas, the astral bodies.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
shows it's showing your body through the harp.
Mm.
And the harp has this G scale frequency that resonates on the same tonality output of the cymatic waveforms of the stars. They figured out.
Right.
It's
Wow.
called the G scale. Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
And
Let's
that's
get
why
to
they made the weapon harp, by the way, based on the harp. But go ahead.
woo. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Like how you put that one together. Let's get to a couple of questions from the chat before we get out of here. Don't want to keep the brother too long, but I will definitely have this brother again real soon, y'all. Amazing show. Somebody ask him about psilocybin and melanin. What's your thoughts on that?
Oh man, let me tell you something. I've done it all. And I'm telling you right now, I did a video a long time ago called Nema. I had a made contact with this energy named Nema.
Mhm.
Psychedelics go hand in hand because mycelium, magic mushrooms, are the largest organism on the planet. Its roots stretch all the way down to Sirius B, the core of the earth. So the reason why it's so magical when you take it is because it's getting direct information from the star inside of the dirt.
You said the star inside. Come on, man. You can't just say something like that and not elaborate. You said the
It's
star in the dirt, Sirius B in the
yeah,
core.
that's the
Elaborate on
yeah,
that. Yeah.
the core. So I did a video called Underspace
Uh-huh.
on how there is a hollow earth theory where there
Hmm.
is a sun inside of the earth and
Hmm.
that these people are digging. You notice, I think it was this year they announced like Rick Ross had a bunker. All these people started making bunkers, and they
Right.
came out with the show. Was a Silo, where the
Mm-hmm.
whole show is about living in a bunker. Then you got Fallout. Whole show is a bunker. You
Hmm.
still here?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here. Yeah, yeah.
so in the series, I'm speaking about how they believe that the black sun is in the earth, and they think if they incite a nuclear war, which is about what they're trying to pop off with Russia or China, that if they are successful and they do drop nuclear bombs, they will go underground. And they already have these bunkers and this other way of traveling. You ever seen the Matrix when they go underground and they have anti-gravitic ships? What was it called? The Nebuchadnezzar?
Yeah.
That yeah, and I speak to Sophia Stewart all the time. I text her yesterday, and how they have these machines literally, Rich, underground already. These advanced robotic AI powered machines that can travel underneath the ground. And I think they're trying to go under the ground to obtain something in the Talmud or the Jewish text called shining darkness, where they figured that there will be a reverse radiation of the polar shift. And they think by being underground long enough will ignite and make them the holy guardian angels of the planet 300 years from now. So they want to live on the ground for like 300 years after the radiation of the nuclear wars subside and come back to the surface. And they think by being closer to the black sun that since they don't have the black sun inside of them, being on the ground is going to give them the radiation that we get naturally. And when they come back to the surface, they're going to be reborn as the holy guardian angels or something like that. So there's some real information about the hollow earth and the connection with, look up all the Star Trek series. They talk about how the mycelium or the spores of the mushroom is what power the ship's hyperdrive in the new Star Trek series. So the psilocybin is very key and goes hand in hand with the melanin, just to get back on subject with that last part.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's keep this thing going. Wow. Oh, somebody commented, because when you talked about the sleep, they said feng shui says north for sleep. They were saying you said
okay. Well, maybe it was south. I said south at first, but I reversed it to north. I got to remind myself which direction it is. I just know my bed ain't facing that direction.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nani.
But because they say evil comes from the north. That's what I hear in the occult text.
Yeah.
Evil comes from the north, but it's an esoteric lore. So that's why it resonated in my mind.
You was talking earlier about 42 and being connected to black people. Somebody asked, is it the same in reverse with 24?
Nah, 24 means X. We're in the year of the X, 2024. And so I did a whole breakdown on that. X represents the androgynous light of darkness and light, the two lines crossing and everything. The numbers for black people is 42, 59, because the month of the Black History Month ends on the 59th day of the year. And in another connection to 42, Martin Lawrence in his show Martin lived in apartment 42.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. 42 is used across the whole landscape. You're going to see 42 a whole lot, but 59, 42, 181, because 181 is the 42nd prime number. And what's another one? Those are the main ones. That's the ones you need to pay attention to. 59, 42, 181 are the main black person numbers.
You said 2024 is the year to X. What's 2025? The year to what?
Snake.
But as far as letters, if this is
letters,
X, yeah, what would
I haven't looked that far into the letters. I just know that this year is the year of the dragon. Next year is the year of the snake, the Kundalini, the Nagas.
Right.
Yeah, I got to look into the letter aspect.
Somebody, let me see. Somebody said, how can one channel an alien like Nikola Tesla?
You know, I was going to get into that. I was going to get into, they've been studying something in the Vatican called the divine possession. Isn't that something?
Wow.
Divine possession. They've been studying and they've been studying this in Kumbanda, Alomayambe, how to access these divine, but you know, we look at it as devil magic or black magic, but there is some science I know about that, Nigo. I'm not going to put that on here though.
Somebody said, what if you're white but feel closer to black culture?
You probably had a black ancestor. You probably have a Moor somewhere. You shake your tree. If you shake that genetic tree, a Negro might fall out of it.
He said a Negro might fall out.
Hey, you know, if you feel a connection closer to it, Crooked, that you may have a melanated ancestor.
Indeed, I think when a lot of you know, who we call white people, when they hear the melanin talk, they feel left out, so they want to know how are they connected.
Well, y'all have neuromelanin too, and you produce neuromelanin when you sleep. So it's not, y'all have pheomelanin. Melanin is in everyone. There's just the original people have the original form of the hydrocarbon in them. And any other race, they're a mutation out of that hydrocarbon. So it's not that you don't have it. I'm just saying that it works a little bit different for us than it does for everyone else. It's not to say that you can't obtain some type of spiritual value with what you're doing with your melanin, because the same thing you do in mantras and meditation is programming the melanin. I told you the white guy came on and he said, yeah, this thing is so valuable. We're learning how to develop the new AI quantum computer microchips through this thing. So y'all can tap into it too. It's just for us, we tap into it differently. And in the subconscious of this planet, it runs through us in actuality. So they know that, they put it in many books, but they just try to make like we're just some Pookies and Ray Rays and
Right.
Sexy Reds, and they have to reintroduce that archetype over and over so the whole world look at us like that.
Indeed. Somebody said, ask him if the earth is flat. You know that one was coming.
Oh yeah, I already know that. Yeah, I don't know why y'all asked. I don't been on Bro Sanchez channel. I don't been on the biggest flat earth channel there is. Y'all know how I feel. I'm a get the F off earther. I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. I do like flat earth cosmology. I like it.
Very interesting, right? Very interesting.
I think it pertains. I mean, look at the back in my background. There's some things going on with that connected with the pole star. But flat earthers are a little bit cultist for me. Y'all be moving like cults now. Y'all have to chill out with that a little bit.
We talk about that all the time, man. They be making threats and all types of weird shit, man. I'll be like, chill, bro.
Yeah. To me too. My cousin did some weird stuff. I'm like, all right, now, cuz.
All right. Let's see. So can you somebody says, can you speak on Antarctica heat wave and it going up and turning green?
I didn't see that story. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've heard several people mention that. All right, let's get to another question. When will we transition into Sirius C?
Well, there isn't a time frame. That's outside of the time frame. It can happen at any moment when we ready to. When we do enough work, it's going to say the melanin, the electron cloud is going to say, all right, we ready now. We ready. Or it's going to say they're ready.
Right.
You see? And then you get your holy glorified body.
Man, when you said Earth was Sirius B, brother, you know, I asked speakers before, what are these entities fascination with Earth? Sometimes we look at Earth as one of the lesser, the prison planet, the low vibrational planet, but there's obviously something about Earth that make everybody so interested in it. So if you're saying Earth is Sirius B, then that would make sense why there's so much interest with Earth, the planet Earth.
Yeah, I think Earth is like a multiverse. It's like a multiverse corporate entity for the cosmos for energy transactions. It's like the main central base corporately across the multiverse for energy portals. There's portals and there's a transaction system placed with energies here, I believe. So it's a lot being birthed out of this Earth here for some reason.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I never heard it quite put like that. Oh man, let's do two more questions because I know the brother got to go soon. But I definitely appreciate the brother's time. Let's see what else is going on. Somebody said, what does it mean when your chakras are pulsating?
That your ass need to start meditating. You need to do something with it. If they're pulsating, you need to go inside. You need to go inside and make sure you're visualizing that centripetal force. If you have to visualize a cobweb tunnel spiral in your mind. You have to start to imagine sacred geometry as energy signatures in your mind, and you have to learn the lattice system of the sacred geometry to access your cold fusion. You can't be ignorant to sacred geometry. So it's not just good to feel it to pulsate. You have to do work with it from a mental side to actually access that cold fusion.
Excellent. All right, let's get to this. Let me see. Somebody said, how does Akasha relate to melanin?
Akasha is melanin. Akasha is nothing but the memory of the ethers. The same thing. Akash means black, blackness, and it's a memory rim. And melanin, it maintains the memory of dimensionality. That's what it does. So it's the same aspect, Eddie. And I think I spoke about that in the lecture. You go back, you probably hear it in clips, but I spoke on that.
Indeed, man. Hey, man, with that being said, man, I want you to a lot of people gonna want to holler at you, brother. What do you do exactly? You do readings, you do gematria readings, like what services you have?
Yes, I do gematria decodes and spiritual consultations. I've been a spiritual counselor for about 7 years now. I just started the gematria decodes this year because I've been doing gematria for like 6 years straight. But now I figured out the cosmic side of it. And I'm starting to learn the Kabbalistic understanding, the Hebraic understanding of the numbers better. So I do gematria decodings on your name, and I break down your astrology, I break down your cardology, life path number, show you, if you want to go deeper, show you your houses and the interconnectedness to the numerology. I give you a etymology breakdown of your name. And then I just do spiritual counseling. Like some people just have questions for like hours and hours, and I just take them through, give them exercises and help them with that. And we have a Patreon where I do classes on. I've been doing classes like 1,000 videos on their family and some amazing research, I will say, that's on my Patreon that has a lot of spiritual food that's needed to understand a different perspective of what we're in right now.
How can they reach out to you, my brother?
Y'all can go to my email. You can email me at startribe777@gmail.com. And you can go to my YouTube, Osaru, and my Patreon, patreon.com/THE_spiritual shade room. THE_spiritual shade room, and follow me at the spiritual shade room #1 on Instagram. I post on there frequently showing you what's going on with the world pertaining to spirituality.
Indeed. Shout out to King Simon in the chat, sharing the brothers links, Patreon and Instagram and all that good stuff. But yeah, make sure you holler at the brother. Somebody, let me just throw this question in. Somebody said, Rich, ask him if the year of the snake has anything to do with the zodiac snake.
You know what? I'm gonna study that. You're talking about Ophiuchus. I'm gonna look into that. I'm gonna look into that. It's really Chinese astrology, but I'm gonna look just for that sun care. So I might look into that and do a video on that in my research. I appreciate you bringing that to the attention.
Indeed. I'm glad he brought it up as well. Hey, amazing show. We still got over 2,000 people in the chat. They stayed for 2 whole hours, so they loved it, man. You did your thing. I can't wait. There's a sister that the brother had on his channel that I look forward to introducing to this channel as well. So the brother's tapped in with a whole crew over there on his end, a whole group of old souls that are tapped in. So can't wait to have that sister on. But amazing first show. I got to get you back on here soon, my brother.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. Like I said, I'm humbled and I'm very appreciative for this, for being on the platform. And I'm looking forward for us doing stuff in the future, brother.
Indeed. On that note, have a good night, my brother and family. I will see y'all tomorrow with Queen of Fua at 9 p.m. All right, family? Peace, everybody.
Peace.
This is a gathering. 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 This is a gathering of the masses. This is a gathering. 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 This is a gathering.